here's a question. Have you ever won the lottery? Well, 10,000 Israelis just have, only it's not exactly what you think it is. They signed up for an Israeli government scheme to purchase newly built apartments at 20% below market price. The apartments are allocated to be built in 31 cities and towns across Israel, across the entire country, including Haifa and Jerusalem. And this lottery is known locally as Metara in Hebrew. It's aimed at helping first-time buyers attain home ownership, and almost 120,000 applied this year. But the question now is whether this lottery is really going to make an impact on the cost of living in Israel, which we all know is sky high. And joining us now is Roie Kaner. He's the CEO of the Montefiore Real Estate Group. So, Roie, the first question, I already said it, how much of an impact is this actually going to have on the real estate market? Is it enough? And are we going to be seeing more lotteries like this? Because there's certainly a lot more than just 10,000 Israelis who want to buy homes for the first time.
Yeah, well, my answer to this question is, unfortunately, no. There won't be a big impact. I mean, marketing 10,000 discounted units is not going to solve Israel's real estate problem. I mean, imagine a big forest fire, and instead of having 5, 10, 747 firefighting super tankers, you bring a couple of guys with a garden hose, drip, drip. And so that's just not enough. And these are the lottery apartments. And if the government really wants to solve the issue and the issues of the Israeli real estate market, and they know it, they have to do much better and address the bigger issues in hand.
Right. So what are those bigger issues? Because we know the price of real estate has skyrocketed, particularly within the last 2 years. Right. Are there any measures that are truly going to stop that from continuing?
Yeah, well, first we have to be fair. The spike in home prices is not reserved for Israel. We're seeing a lot of countries in the Western world who are facing this problem, and of course it's connected to COVID. However, and it's not time-related or pandemic-related, there are effective measures in order to take care of the problem. And let's start with, the Israel Land Authority, who owns, through the government, almost 93% of the land in Israel, and which is releasing or selling to the free market a tiny fracture of these lands every year. We need to have much more available lands for sale. And in addition, we have to decrease the level of bureaucracy. Just to give you an example, in order to, for a developer to issue a building permit in Israel, it can take from 2 to 3 years, which is a lot. And we have to make it easier for the developers to build here, and thus decreasing the home prices.
Right. The question is, if the Israeli government is really willing to do that. What we did see, an effort to make home ownership more accessible for Israelis. The government has actually cracked down on foreign investors with certain taxes. Have we seen less foreign investment in real estate as a result of that? And is that actually a good thing for Israelis at the end of the day?
Yeah, well, regarding the amount of foreign investments coming in the country, it's a bit hard to say right now because the skies have been closed for almost 2 years. So we haven't seen a lot of foreign clients coming here and buying. However, you asked it for the second question, whether it's good or bad. My answer is very, very bad, because investors fulfill a very, very important role in the real estate market, whether it's that are Israeli investors or foreign investors, and which is providing the rental market with available apartments. I mean, if there are no investors buying, there's no homes for rent. So by overtaxing them and picking on them, you create two very bad effects. One, you have less available homes for rent, so the rent prices will go up. And second, investors that will agree to pay the price will end up having their tenants pay for the extra cost they had to pay, and thus the rent price goes up again.
Thank you so much for joining us, Roie.
Thank you.
All right. On a lighter note,